Can you ask me a question? Yeah, of course. Oh, can you introduce? Yeah. Please go ahead. Maybe, come on. Morning.
Morning. I'm excited. Michael Collins, you're going to see him more. He just joined. He's the new head of leasing and secondary department. Be nice to him. Please work closely with him. He comes with a great background. I'll give him a couple of minutes to just tell you about his background, if you may.
No worries, thank you.
Please.
Morning guys, how are you? Good. Yes, just wrap it up in a minute because obviously this guy's more important than me. Been in Dubai for the last 9.5 years. Been an agent, manager. I worked at Beirut for 1.5 years on the advertising aspect. So now these great guys have invited me to join the secondary team. So anything you need, give me a shout. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Right, so let me start with my favorite question. Yeah? How many transactions were registered? Yeah. How many transactions were registered yesterday in Dubai? 2.7, okay, that's the value, right? Okay, how many transactions physically? 472. That's only the cash. You have to add the mortgage, right? Mortgage was 88, correct. So you had around 520 transactions yesterday and 2.7 billion. 2.3 billion actually, because we ignore the gifts, right? Now, what was the latest news that came out about the golden visa? It was out in the papers yesterday. You should know it. Golden visa? Arabian Business carried the news yesterday.
Which is if they 2 million in
Yeah,
the bank account?
that we know from last year. Yesterday what came out. Okay, the demand has gone up for the golden visa because Portugal and 2-3 countries in Europe besides Portugal are all stopping the 10-year visas that they had, and Greece has just doubled the amount of money investment people have to make to get the visa. So people are going to be more attracted here. So what does it mean when the demand for the golden visa goes up? 2 million and above properties start becoming attractive because they need that much to be able to get the visa, right? So you will see an additional demand coming. Smaller push, but it's good. It's moving in the right direction, right? What was the other announcement that came out yesterday from the World Bank about UAE? You guys are selling real estate, are you? Yeah? You have to be on top of these articles that are coming out. Now I'm telling this to you, I don't see anybody writing it down. You have to be getting onto the internet, screenshotting, going to the articles, pulling down the sources. This is what you'll be using with your clients. Globally, the economic outlook for 2023 has been dropped from 3.4% to 2.9%. Okay, it's been reduced. But for the UAE, it has been increased to 4.1. This was just yesterday. With everything that's happening, with the war still going on, with the interest hikes, with the inflation, with what's happening with the three banks and then 9 more under survey, under scrutiny, with all of this happening, yesterday's report came out and the UAE has been increased. The GDP has been increased by 4.1%. Okay? So you need to pull down these reports. While the whole world is being adjusted, the UAE is being increased. China's at 5.2, India's at 6.1, but you just need to be knowing your numbers. And we know today that these are aggressive economies that are growing, India, China, etc. The US is at 1.4. So you want to know these because these are good indicators of a healthy economy and it is driving investments into this region. It's because of the business ecosystem that we have today, the ease of doing business, the very sophisticated infrastructure that's been put into place, the diversifying into multiple business streams. All of this is attracting the opportunities. In just the last 2 years alone, 5,600 Americans have released their permanent citizenships and have come to Dubai. What does that tell you? 4,400 millionaires from around the world have now left their countries of origin and they have taken up permanent residency in the UAE. Please download all these reports. The Henley and Partner report, which talks about the millionaire migration, you should know it. The Savills Index, Prime Real Estate Index report. Please download that, because that report shows you that the current global demand is highest for Middle East opportunities. 25% has been the increase for demand for properties in the UAE, in the Middle East itself. Saudi Arabia is driving it at 64%. The NEOM project and all of that is doing it, but the second largest in this region is UAE. Okay? Know your numbers, because this is the credible information that you can use with your client. Now, any questions from what we did last time? I just want to continue, wrap up the call process, and then start doing objection handling with you. Okay, now, bear in mind, the approach that we are talking about, that you're using on the phone, is we're talking about with a heavy focus towards the off-plan. We're not doing it with the sellers, we're doing it more with the buyers that you're approaching, right? For off-plan. Now, last week, just as a summary, we looked at the introduction to the call. In the introduction to the call, you had the 3 parts, and then managing the brush-off. So you had your snap introduction, you had the acknowledgement, and then you had the statement of value, which is given as a hook question. And in the hook question, you always start by saying, did you know? Extremely powerful, okay? In case money is coming into the question, in case it's coming in, drop it to USD, use the minimizing words like mere, only, just. Just bring those in with the right tonality, it creates impact. Remove the specifics of the projects, bring USPs or benefits. So don't take the name of the developer, don't take the name of the community, don't take the name of the tower. Bring a USP about it. The simple reason to do this, if I take the name, if I say, did you know that Emaar just launched St. Regis downtown, I've given all the information to the client. But when you say that, did you know that one of the biggest developers in the world has just launched the #3 residential brand in the world in one of the busiest districts in Dubai, the tendency for them is to ask, which one is this? Because they cannot relate to it. Then when they ask you which one is it, you bypass the initial resistance, and that's where you get into it. Before I tell you about that amazing opportunity, may I ask you a question or two? You will use the benefit and get into the call, okay? So we looked at some of the brush-offs last week. Now let's look at attracting interest. The call was broken up into 4 parts. The opening of the call, the attracting interest, you had the offering of the meeting, and the closing of the call, okay? So let's go to the, now, attracting interest is going to happen after you have handled the brush-offs, or you have used your entry and the client has said, which one are you talking about? In the attracting interest, again, there's 3 parts to this process. You must attract the interest before you offer the meeting. One of the reasons why many of the leads do not convert, so I'm just going to repeat this again, we talked about it last time. When you get an inbound lead, when people put an inquiry, they're in a curiosity mental state. They've started to look for opportunities because they want to make a buying decision. But when people get onto the portals and they start to look, they have an idea of what they want. They don't look at just one. So if I'm interested in maybe a 4-bedroom or a 5-bedroom in Tilal Al Ghaf, I'll go to 2 or 3 of the well-known portals. I'll look at a few, and if I like something there, it's coming within a comfortable price range, I'll put my details there. But I don't stop because I put it in one. I will find another unit which might be exclusive to another broker. So I'll even give my information there. I'll pick 3 to 4. I want options for myself. So when you contact these people, they are not going to tell you that I'm also in touch with 3 to 4 other brokers. But they're still in the curiosity state. Let me know. So if you jump into the phone call and try to ask them to come for a meeting, they will not come for the meeting. They will tell you, send me a WhatsApp. Because when I'm curious, I'll not come and spend 3 hours with you in the desert. So what I need to do is get onto the call, connect with them, and attract their interest, convert the curiosity into serious intent. When there is serious intent, people will consider giving you the 3 hours. So the format of your call has to create that serious intent, then you offer the meeting. So you start creating that serious intent when you are going to attract interest, okay? So the 3 parts here: get permission to call, get permission to continue, qualify the clients, find out a little bit more what they're looking for. Don't go to a deep extent. It's on the phone, first point of contact, not much trust has been established. They don't want it to be too interrogative. There are certain things you need to get, so you know how to prepare for this person, what to send them, where you need to take them when they come. So you need just that bit of information. You must summarize it before you go to offering the meeting. When you summarize whatever you found out, they will say yes. I need the yes, because on that yes, I'm going to offer the meeting. It's logical. If a person says yes, that's what I'm looking for, then I know I can offer the meeting. Okay? So let's look at the attract part. So you get permission to continue. Now the structure, the way you do it is, use the name. Depending on which camp you're sitting, you're going to use Mr. or you're not going to use Mr. I'm in the camp where you don't use the Mr. But that's really each of you culture where you come from. Now, before you get the permission to continue, repeat the hook. Your hook might have been, did you know that you could get a guaranteed 40% return over the next 5 years in a premium, whatever hook you may have used. 8% a year translates to 40% over 5 years, right? If I've used that hook as an example, and the client says, which one are you talking about? Where is this? Tell me more. Before I will start telling more, I will get the permission, but I will repeat the hook. So I'll say, Ahmed, before I show you or before I tell you how to make that 40%, may I ask you a question or two? Make sure you put that hook back into the permission question. Or before I tell you about that waterfront community, may I ask you a question or two? So since they have already asked you with interest, they'll tell you, okay, make it quick. Yeah, no problem. Go ahead, right? So I come to this point. Now, once they say yes, go ahead, simply add another line. Use a power word. Excellent, great. I'll also answer any questions you may have. Now, if I may ask, just go straight into it. Now, your entry question when you come in, remember, they still don't trust you. If it's an inbound lead, I'm at least willing to listen to you. If it's an outbound call, I wasn't even expecting your call. So don't go directly into a qualifying question. You need to bring in something that's a little softer, where they don't see any pressure to give you an answer to the question, but what they don't realize is as they're speaking to you about that question, they're getting into a communication pattern with you. They're getting used to having the conversation. So the safest question that you could use, if the lead is overseas, I'll give you the question, and if the lead is a resident in Dubai. It's in the handouts which I gave you last time, okay? So let's say the lead is overseas. Start by simply asking, so have you visited Dubai before? Now that's a perfectly normal question and a logical question to ask at this stage. Why? Why do you want to know if he's visited Dubai? So, okay, either he could be familiar with the areas, or I want to know how he feels about Dubai. This is very important. What has been his exposure to the lifestyle in this city, because I'm going to offer him an opportunity in this city. Now, he might be an investor sitting overseas. He needs to be able to relate to the lifestyle quality here, which means people will want to come here, therefore he'll get rent. Or the appreciations are going to happen. I just want to know how he feels about the city. So it's a safe way to start the conversation. Have you visited Dubai before? You can do this. You can't do at the stands. You don't want to ask this. At the stands, you might say, "Is this your first visit to Dubai?" Start the conversation from there. No, not have you visited. He's sitting in front, standing in front of you, right? But is this your first visit to Dubai? You can start from there. Now, the second question becomes important. So let's say this client tells you, well, yeah, I've come to Dubai a few times. I'll simply ask, so what do you like about Dubai? Now, you are actually leaning him towards thinking about what is good about Dubai. because I'm going to start offering an opportunity, right? And the questions go very naturally with each other. So have you visited Dubai before? Well, yeah, I've come a few times to Dubai. Excellent. So what do you like about Dubai? Don't ask, how do you feel about Dubai? It's too hot. All right, that kind of question doesn't lean in any direction. So you want to bring a positive direction in your question, right? So what do you like about Dubai? Now, if it's a resident in Dubai, my entry question just changes. Just one question changes. That's it. We need to keep it simple, all right? So how long have you lived in Dubai? That's it. Now, when he gives you an answer, let's say 8 years, 5 years, repeat his answer before you ask that second question. So here's an example, right? Well, how long have you lived in Dubai? Well, I've been here for the last 8 years. 8 years. What do you like about Dubai? Just mirror the answer. The reason why we mirror the answers is because you're repeating the client's own words. So there is a connect that happens with it. Match the tonality. So how long have you lived in Dubai? Oh, 8 years. I say, 8 years. What do you like about Dubai? Well, how long have you lived in Dubai? 8 years. 8 years. What do you like about Dubai? Mirror and match the tonality, but repeat the answer. That's all you got to do. Now, the answer doesn't really matter. I love the lifestyle opportunity. I like the infrastructure for business. You've got amazing malls, your beaches, your hotels. Whatever they give you as an answer, they're focusing on what is good. Now, I'm going to use their answer as a bridge to go into the qualifying. And the way to do that will be an agreement first, right? And the word to use, the best word to use for your bridge is exactly. Okay, don't change this word. Underline it in your handouts. You will say exactly. Exactly is the most powerful word in the English language to communicate, I am 100% on board with you. You've hit the nail on the head. It's absolutely correct. Okay, so and you agree. So the two minds come together. So whatever the client may have given you as an answer, I will simply say exactly, matching his tone, right? Exactly. Dubai is one of the best visited cities in the world, both for business and pleasure. And that's the reason why so many people are investing in property before. Here. Then I would say, so Ahmed, have you invested in properties before? I will go into a bit of my qualifying, okay? So I'll use his answers about Dubai, and from there, in my response, I'll bring in property there, and then I'll go into asking the questions, okay? Now, we're talking about when you're speaking largely to the off-plan side of the market now, okay? So, well, have you invested in properties before? And if the answers are yes, you just want to ask, so what kind of properties do you like in Dubai? Something like that. How has that worked for you in the past? Casually, just casual conversation yet. This is indirect qualifying. Why is it indirect? If he tells me, well, yes, I've invested, I have a 4-bedroom town house or semi-detached villa in Menon. You know he's in the range of 3 to 5 million. He likes gated communities. There is some pre-qualification, but you will never limit yourself to that, okay? Now, I will get into actually asking him what is his real requirement. If it is a client who's an inbound lead, I can actually use that to start with. If you remember when we say thank you for taking my call, the reason I'm calling, if it was an inbound lead and they put in an inquiry for, I don't know, something, let's say Peninsular, I would simply say thank you for your interest with Peninsular, or thank you for your inquiry with regards to Peninsular. But never limit yourself to Peninsular. That's what he saw when he started his search, and then he gave you the information. He might be someone who could go to a St. Regis or a Sixth Senses. So you will never limit yourself, but you'll use that as the entry to start the conversation, because that caught his attention. Okay? Now, if it's an outbound call, where you're not sure what the person is looking for, you'll take a more open way of qualifying. So you could ask a simple question like this. So Ahmed, if you were to consider a home in Dubai, if you were to consider an opportunity in Dubai, what would be your ideal investment? Or what kind of investment would you be interested in? If you know he's looking for a home, what would your ideal home look like? That's your qualifying question on the phone. I need some information from the person. Now, you can also ask the person something like this. So have you looked at any other opportunities right now? Why should you ask this question? To understand if he's working with other agents, to know if he's done some sort of search. He might have some pricing in his mind because he's done some search on the community. There's a possibility that others have also responded to him, maybe even before you. So he's got a bit of information. I just want to know who I'm dealing with, right? So I'll simply ask, well, have you looked at any other opportunities out there? And so what are your thoughts on some of those? Just casually get that out of him, right? Now, communities. Is there any type of community that he might be interested in? Do you have a location in mind? And I mean, why that location? Why is that particular location so interesting to you? Now, I usually prefer asking it in a bit more open way. Because if you ask it like this, it's a closed question, okay? Do you have a community in mind? It's still okay at this stage, but in case he gives you an answer and you don't have inventory in that community, so you might set yourself up for later on you'll have to introduce something else. Probably just open it and say, so when you decide on a home, what's important for you in the community? Or what do you look at in a community before you decide that's the ideal community for you? It's more open and it allows you to suggest alternate communities as well. Okay? That's what you just need to find out from these people. Now, you also need to know how much he's thinking of investing. If it's an inbound lead, you at least have an idea of the range. Outbound, you don't. So I need to know how much is this person looking at investing, and how would you ask that question? Do you? Okay. I'm going to be a bit direct with all of you, right? I'm going to pick on words that you use because I want to help you. Don't say, do you have an idea? It might suggest he's clueless. Okay, do you have an idea? You know what happens sometimes when you're talking with people, say, do you have any idea what you just said? So that can happen, right? So you don't need that. Just keep it straight and simple. But avoid using the word budget. Yeah, budget is used by a lot of clients themselves. That's okay, that's his language. From your side, try to move from a word like budget. I heard yesterday, and a broker, we're listening on a call, say, so how much are you willing to spend? That's a very wrong statement to make. Spend creates the image that money is going out. How much are you looking at investing is more positive because investments creates the image of money coming in. But there's a better way of doing it. When you ask the money question, never isolate the money question from the need. The need is the reason they're putting the money. So if you can bring the need into the money question, it becomes more powerful. So here's an example. I could simply ask, so how much are you looking at investing? I'll get an answer, but ask it this way. So Ahmed, for that kind of a villa, 4 bedrooms, in Tilal Al Gaf, overlooking the lake, how much are you looking at investing? You will get better answers. The person will be more willing to give you a number because the number is being asked directly in connection with the need. Okay, there's another way you can ask it. So I would say, so Ahmed, for that kind of a home, just repeat what he said. A community like Dubai Hills, 4-bedroom villa, very close to the mall, your investment could start at, and you pause. They'll give you a number. And you could go up to, you'll get a second number, okay? So you can get a range. Because remember, whenever any client tells you, I've got 5 million, he's got 60 million in the bank. No one comes and puts 100% of their cash flow, but they don't feel the need to tell you. So don't limit yourself to that number. That number that he has given you could simply be, I still don't trust you enough to explore bigger options. So let me give you a safe number. When I build the trust with a person in the call, we can expand him to something else. So if you ask the question like this, your investment would start at, pause, and you could go up to, you will get a range. The range will come because they've got that money with them, okay? So that's what we're looking at here, right? So for that kind of a home, your investment would start at, and you could go up to, just ask it that way. The whole structure is in the handout that was given to you last week. All right? Now, if you sense that the answers are open, the person is willing to be in the conversation, find out just one more thing. Okay? For the phone call, this is enough. You don't want to get too interrogative. What you can ask, remember these are off-plan calls because you guys are doing off-plan. So you really don't want to ask questions about self-funded mortgage because you won't get that in off-plan anyway, right? So those can be done when you have a face-to-face or later when you're having extended chats with the person, you can find out that information. For the purpose of this call, this is enough. But the one thing you might want to ask is, so how soon are you looking at making this investment? How soon are you considering to do the investment in Dubai? That's a question you could ask. You ask this to the inbound calls for sure because they have generated interest. To the outbound call, you can sense how the person is responding. Say, so Ahmed, if I could find you that kind of home, 4 bedrooms, Tel Al Ghaf, next to the lake, within the 14 million, how soon would you consider an investment? When you link the questions together, you get more open and more genuine answers. Okay? Now, once you have found out what the client wants, you need to summarize. Summarizing is basically called a reverse pitch. I repeat back to the client what he's looking for and get him to say yes. Because when he says yes to that, I move into how I can start to position for the meeting. So that's the reason why you will just summarize what he said. When summarizing, use his words. Don't change the words in between. Okay? And the structure when you are summarizing is this. Underline it in the handout. Use the name. We saw last time in the video why the name being used often is good, right? It takes you into that circle of trust. And there are certain places where you use the name. So what you need to underline is this, the structure. Ahmed, from what you told me, okay, from what you told me, you're interested in. That's the structure. So Ahmed, from what you've just told me, you're interested in, and then you will repeat the qualification. Okay, and then you will say the link will come. And for that, you're willing to invest. That's the structure. Not you're looking to invest, you're willing to invest. Words create pictures. They lean people in directions of action or inaction. So that's why, and for that, you're willing to invest up to X amount. And you could make a decision by the end of this month. Is that correct? You'll end with a question. Is that correct? Okay? So that's your structure. So Ahmed, from what you told me, you're interested in, repeat it, and for that, you're willing to invest up to X. And you could make a decision by this time. Is that correct? It's a reverse pitch. I'm repeating all his needs, summarized as one. And if he says, well, yes, excellent, great, fantastic, powered. Okay? So the yes will now position you. So listen to the tonality of the yes. If the client says, well, yeah, that's what I'm looking for, that's a good tone. That's an 8 on 10. If the client says, well, yeah, I guess so, that's a 5 on 10 or a 4 on 10. So if you just, you can't come and say, but he said yes. Yeah, but how did he say it? The tonality is very important. So listen for the tonality in the answer. In case it's just about, well, yeah, maybe. Okay, let's see. You know he's not there, all right? So I would simply probe further in that case. I'll simply say, Ahmed, what else do we need to take care of so you can own this opportunity? That's it. Keep it positive, okay? Don't use negatives like what's missing, what have we not looked at. Never use negative language in sales. Neutral is the worst language you will use. Positive is the one you want to find. So only positive words, phrases, open-ended statements, but try to keep them positive, at worst neutral, never negative. Okay? So that's all you'll do. If it's a yes, use a power word. If it is no, maybe, just probe a little bit more so you will understand what could be the resistances in there. Okay? Because if the answer is not a clear yes, and you are going to offer a meeting, they are going to resist the meeting rather than accept it. So that's why I need to be able to make sure that yes, what we've talked about is something that you're really interested in, okay? Doesn't mean they'll buy, but I have the interest. When people have interest, they're more ready to consider a meeting with you, okay? So once you have done this, now I have to do a bit of a setup for a soft pitch to get them into a meeting. So in the attract interest, I need to position a little bit for the meeting confirmation. Everything is a setup. You're working in the mind of the person before you will make the actual statement or question, okay? Now, let's say, based on what this client told me, I might be thinking that there are a couple of good opportunities with Imar that will work well for him. You don't want to do the entire pitch on the phone, because if you give everything on the phone, there's no reason for them to come. But you might want to show them something before you offer the meeting, in the sense, at least they should think in their mind that you are at least offering an opportunity with someone who's credible, an opportunity that has got the potential. So that helps them say yes to the meeting. That creates or adds to the interest. You are not going to pitch or do any presentation. This is on the phone, it's too early. But you have to give them a reason to say yes to meeting with you. So you don't make sweeping statements like, we have some amazing opportunities in Dubai right now, why don't we meet? What amazing opportunities? Yeah, I'm a millionaire, I have better things to do with my time. And by the way, how many of you trust salespeople? I think I asked this before, right? So I don't trust you yet. You're a salesperson. Worse, you're a broker in Dubai. You know the image that is there on the industry, right? We cannot blame anybody. We have contributed to that ourselves. So I speak to this guy out of the blue. I've started to talk to him. I'm building my rapport, but I'm not there fully with him on the phone. So you want to make sure that you are giving him good reasons to say yes. That is the reason why, before you get permission to ask questions, you repeat the benefit. So he feels, okay, I want to know the benefit, go ahead and ask me. So you always set them up with something, like a little hook, before you ask for something. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do here. Now, if I'm thinking about Imar, or I may be thinking about a Miras, doesn't matter, whoever it is, do not start talking to them about Imar. Because I need to know how they feel about that developer, or do they have some sort of understanding. Many of these people have been approached before by others. They may have even come and looked at opportunities. So I have no idea about what they know. So the nicest way to do it is start with a simple question, if I'm planning an Imar. So Ahmed, how familiar are you with Imar properties? How familiar are you? His answer will give you an idea, all right? Then you will tell him, let me quickly tell you a little about them, because I'm going to suggest a meeting with Imar. Now, when you talk about Imar now, keep it short. This is on the phone. Don't go detailing their communities and things. Give big picture, their legacy. Who are they? How long have they been in this business? What do they actually do? Which kind of people are interested in investing? That's about it. Enough to make him realize, okay, so this is a good developer. So when you suggest the meeting, it will make sense for them to come here, okay? That's all I'm doing here. Question?
Yeah. The question is like, so you know, we have a stance. For a stance, after we got the numbers, for example, tomorrow we want to call them, is it the same rule?
Okay, if you got the number at a stand, your entry point into the call will be the reference to the stand. Okay, so Ahmed, good morning. We met at the stand yesterday, and I'm calling with the, and then you'll say, thank you for your interest shown in what, and then you'll start from there, okay? You'll use the same route. Okay, you don't want to have so many different structures here. You can use the same. However, even at the stand, if you have not had a discussion, you probably should have had a quick discussion about maybe one or two opportunities, and how do you feel about something should have happened before. If it's not, just start like this. Don't pitch, I'll come to you. Don't just pitch any developer. Ask this question first. How familiar are you with Damac? How familiar are you with Miras? Let's see what they come up with, okay? What's your question? You had a question, right?
This all happening on more than one call. So how do I wrap up and start again from the point that I have reached in the previous call? For whatever reason, the client do I wrap up?
Okay.
Come again.
So if I hear you correctly, you're saying if this whole conversation is going over multiple calls, even 2 calls, 3 calls, even 2 calls, and the client has disconnected for whatever reason, how do I get back into the call? Is that what you're saying? All right, you'll just go back at the same entry point. So when I call and I'm speaking the second time, I would simply tell the client, now the last time we were speaking, we were just considering an opportunity at Imar. Is that still something you'd be interested in? And just start from there. Just reference point to the last one, okay? That this is if for some reason the call was disconnected, right? Now, if not, you should go for it in call 1 itself. Call 1 itself will work for you if you are going to use the structure, if your structure is going to be formatted around questions more than answers. For salespeople, sometimes we want to pitch on the phone. We want to talk. People get bored very quickly. Remember, I don't trust you. Who are you? And I have better things to do than just sit and listen to some guy droning on about some opportunities in Dubai. Don't forget 5 others like you called me before. So you don't want to do that. So you catch their interest by asking questions. And it shows that I'm seeking to understand first before I make any statement. So imagine if you ask this guy, so how familiar are you with Imar? Oh, Imar, I own 5 properties with Imar. Imagine if you don't know this. You'll just pitch Imar like as if they don't know. So always ask this question first, okay? One more question, then I move on.
It's the same issue, but like, let's say I was building with the emotional bank with the client, and I reached somewhere and I disconnected, and after 2 days, I'm starting from 0. So I think it's wrong to start like we reach to the last point and then we continue. So I need at least to rebuild somewhat.
Of course, I agree. You'll start by again connecting with the person. Just a couple of casual words is all you need. You can say, last time we weren't able to complete the conversation, so that's the reason I'm in touch with you today. Now, my intent for the call today is to understand better what you're really looking for so we can look at the next steps. So would you be okay if I asked you a couple of questions? That's it. And then refer back. Now, the last time when we were speaking, we had just come to discussing an opportunity with Imar. That's where we had ended our call. Would you be okay if I went back to if I continued from there? That's it.
If we say he's
Reference.
not interested anymore.
Well, so that's exactly why we're having this conversation. Instant reverse. That's exactly why we're having this. So, okay, the question here was, he says, I'm not interested anymore. So whenever you hear, I'm not interested anymore, think about it. Okay, a person who's genuinely not interested will disconnect the phone on you. I have no need to build relationship with you. I will disconnect. But if they say, well, I'm not interested anymore, and they're still on the phone, it's called a linger. You need to jump in that moment. And the way you'll jump in is you'll take the name and say, Ahmed, that's exactly why we're having this conversation. 8 out of 10 times they'll tell you, what do you mean? So when they tell you what do you mean, you will match their tone and you'll say, Ahmed, I know how you feel. Some of my best clients initially felt the same. Here's what they discovered. Give a particular pitch and then end with a did you know. Did you know? And then you come in with the thing. Stay in the call. I'm not interested or I'm not interested anymore, and they're still on the phone with you. They're giving you the opportunity. Can you use it? Okay? So now, how familiar are you with Imar? Let's say they tell you, well, I've heard about them, but I don't know too much about them. Very quickly, just get into a short little pitch on Imar. Now, important, let me take a quick moment to tell you about them. Just put that in there. Let me tell you about Imar. In my mind, if I'm a challenger client, left brain, impatient, right? Let me tell you about Imar. Is this going to be a story coming? How long are you going to speak? I have no idea. So more than really listening to you, I'm a little bit distracted by how long will this go on. So I'll just put it in the say, let me take a quick moment to tell you about them. 3 to 4 lines, that's it. The intent here is to make them feel good about Imar and that it would make sense to consider a meeting with them. That's your goal at this point, right? So a very simple little thing. Imar is the world's largest international developer. They are. Outside China, they are the biggest international developer, all right? And you'll simply make statements like over 90,000 Please don't go with this number because numbers change every day, right? So I'm just saying that over 90,000 investors and homeowners have trusted them to build their homes for them. Something like that. It's a legacy and a confidence boosting statement. You will talk about what they do, okay? They've handed over nearly 46,000, it's around 46, not 43 anymore, 46,000 units in Dubai alone. Get into something else. Emaar has completed, or Emaar has built, or Emaar specializes in world-class communities, iconic skyscrapers, landmarks. They have shaped the skyline of Dubai over the last 22 years. You can simply talk about any brand associations. Emaar has also partnered with global brands such as St. Regis, Lamborghinis, Elisab to create distinctive living spaces. That's it. I don't need more than this. Not on the phone, okay? Now, once this is done, I am going to position for the soft confirmation. So I'm going to pitch the meeting for the person. Now, in case your lead is overseas and maybe they haven't visited Dubai before, you might want to take about 30 seconds just to talk a little bit about Dubai. It's very important for them because they don't understand the city. They're not aware of real estate in Dubai. They're not aware of Emaar. So you might want to take 30 seconds to do that. Now the way to do that again is just make this statement, okay? Ahmed, the value of your home or investment is directly connected or linked to the attractiveness of Dubai. Let me quickly tell you about Dubai. So what we're saying is the performance of your unit, the value of your home is directly linked to the attractiveness of Dubai. Agree, disagree? Agree, right? I have this amazing 20,000 square foot villa, 9 bedrooms on a 30,000 square foot plot, great pool, 2 pools and jacuzzi, outdoor barbecue areas, but it's in North Korea. How many of you would like to buy? It's an amazing property, excellently built, brilliant design, but it's in North Korea. So it is a fact that the attractiveness of the city supports the attractiveness of the property because of the appreciation in value as well as rental yields or demands to rent. Question?
So for the previous part, if it's not a big developer, like if it's a small developer, how can we enter the conversation?
Okay, good question. So if it is a small developer, not a big developer, try and use a third-party reference. Talk a little bit about what they have done. Say, one of the rising or one of the most popular developers in Dubai right now is this one. Over the last 6 months, we've had hundreds of investors go and visit this particular project. I'll just go third party. I'll use the confidence boosting of people whom he believes in, which is the third party. So that's the way you want to do it, all right? Or if you don't want to suggest the small one, you could tell him, we do have a couple of amazing opportunities right now. Go more generic. You can go a bit more generic. We do have a couple of opportunities that are really attractive in Dubai right now. What are your thoughts about going to something like that? What are your thoughts about a property that could generate up to X amount of returns a year? Start going into questions with them. Get them to say, well, that makes sense. I like it. So you set them up to like it before you introduce it. Okay? Okay, now, this is a key question to answer. Okay? When you have to talk about Dubai, okay, you don't have to use this step with those who live in Dubai. You don't have to use it so much with people who have visited Dubai before. But if they have not visited, they've just generated an inquiry, you will need it. Now, the key to positioning Dubai is not, it's not the Burj Khalifa, the Dubai Mall, the fountain, all of these things we don't want to talk about. No one is going to invest 2 million or 5 million because you have the tallest building in the world or you have the largest mall in the world. I'll take a 4-night, 5-day package and I'll come with my family, I'll enjoy it. But there's no way I'm going to relocate and live in the city because you have the tallest tower. We all go on holidays. We visit certain destinations and we go and see the highlights of those cities, right? But we don't plan to relocate to those cities because of that. So when you present Dubai, this is the key. Why would a family, this you have to answer. Why would a family want to leave their home or city and come to Dubai and start fresh? That's how you present Dubai. Because if I'm an investor, and remember, we're talking to leads who are overseas. So if I'm an overseas lead, I'm probably looking for returns. So if I'm looking for returns, I want to know that there will be a potential for that unit to rent out and to rent out quickly at a higher amount. So I have to be able to show why families are leaving their homes and coming to Dubai today. They will need to rent. So anything that helps you to position Dubai like that will help you. Okay? So some of those things is what you need to highlight. Now there are many things about Dubai that you can say. Remember, you're on the phone, pick maximum 2 or 3 things. You cannot go through all of it. I'm just giving you some indicators here. Please don't go through all of this. It's too much, even face to face. Pick from these 1 or 2 that would be attractive to this person, and that's what you will use on the call, right? For example, education can be used. How many international universities do we have in Dubai? Any idea? Guys, you're not going to lose your job if you give me an answer. 100? Okay, 143. Okay, close, but anyway. So 143 international universities are represented in Dubai. Think back to the cities where you came from. How many international universities do you have? Okay, look at London. London has got 72, and London is a 2,000-year-old city. Okay, Paris has got 90 because of arts and culture. You go to New York, 430-year-old city, they have 27 international universities. Today, if you're staying in New York and you want an Australian degree, you have to leave New York. Or if you're in Australia and you want a British degree, you have to come to the UK. Today you can sit in Dubai, a 22-year-old city, and you can decide you want Australian, you want American, British, Indian, Singaporean, Canadian, Pakistani. You can find all of that right here in Dubai. In 22 years, this city is offering you global education opportunities which your own cities are not offering. Now that's a simple point on education. Another reason why many families are coming here. I have the tax benefits in my salaries. I can get the great lifestyle. There is the safety net that I have as business, and my kids can study in some of the best universities around the world, right here in Dubai. So when you are positioning Dubai, talk about why people would like to come to Dubai. That is what is interesting for an investor who's overseas, okay? You can throw in a line at the end saying, we also are known for some of our iconic landmarks, etc., but don't spend too much time on that. Spend it on why people. COVID is an amazing thing you could use. It was great for the last 2 years. By now, COVID, you can't use it so much, but you can always point out to how the government responded. We became the #1 country in the world to tackle it. We were also the first to open for business. We did not have any negative impact after we opened, and the world came to Dubai. All the first world countries, all the countries in Europe, India, US, Canada, Australia, everyone struggled. China. They all struggled with it, but a tiny Arab state in the desert beat it faster than anybody else. And we did not differentiate here between the locals, the Emiratis, and even the construction workers. Everybody was given the opportunity. All these first world countries with the technology, the medicines, and the money were hoarding it, not giving it to their people and making money off it. That's not what we did in the UAE. Now what that tells me is when something goes wrong, it could be an earthquake, I don't know. When something happens, I want to live in a city with my family where the government will respond. The government will look after me. I don't have that confidence in the rest of the world today, but I will have it in Dubai. Another reason why people are coming here. Know how to pitch Dubai. But it's not information, it's inspiration that sells. You have to have your data, but you have to know how to convert it so you can pull at a few heartstrings. Okay? That's what sells, and people remember that. So, pitch a little bit about Dubai, why it makes sense for people to come and live in Dubai. Now I will go into the opportunity for the meeting. So here's what I'll do. I'll start with a question and get them to agree. This is the secret. If you can get them to keep saying yes a few times, if you can get them to focus on what is good, then you have the opportunity. So start by simply asking this question. So Ahmed, what did you like about what you heard so far? It's a great question to ask, by the way, on the phone. So what did you like? You can even be a bit more direct and say, so do you like what you heard so far? Either one of these. Now, if he says, well, I liked this, this was interesting, I never knew this about Dubai, or whatever they give you as an answer, that's when I will turn around and say, that's exactly why so many investors buy 30 properties from them every single day. Remember, this is linked back to Imar. So if you have introduced a person, you might bring in a number like that, or you can keep it as a generic answer. That's exactly why, on an average, 600 millionaires invest in property in Dubai every single day. That is the average for Dubai. 604 is the average for last year. Just say 600, okay? So you can bring that in. Now, from here, I go directly into the meeting. Okay, now, if you are confident and you know the client is responding, just go direct. So Ahmed, when would you like to come in for a meeting with us? You can ask directly. I prefer the direct approach. Now, if you are not yet confident or you feel resistance from the client, take a softer approach. In the softer approach, you will do two things, okay? This is the direct approach. When would you be free to visit us? Give them two options, double binds 2 times, and then let them choose one. In case you are not using the direct approach, the indirect approach would go like this, all right? Ahmed, seeing is believing, isn't it? What do you think? What's the first thing that came into all your minds when I said this? Yes, correct? If it came in all your minds, it's coming in their minds. Ahmed, seeing is believing, isn't it? All right. So it's a better way. Don't say, would you agree seeing is believing? That question can get a no. But when you say seeing is believing, isn't it? They tend to lean on the yes. Then here's what you will say, okay? 2 paragraphs. Now, Ahmed, having said all of this, I'm not asking that you make any decision now. It's really important for you to get all the information so you can evaluate correctly before you decide. Okay? Why don't I suggest, or let me set up a meeting with one of their consultants who is an expert on investments in Dubai. That's how I'm coming. So what I'm essentially saying, hey, you don't have to make any decision now. You still need more information. You need all of it so you can evaluate correctly before you decide. Why don't I set up a meeting with one of their consultants? They're experts on this. Now, usually at this stage, they will tell you, I'm busy. I'm traveling now. I've got budget time. They'll come and say, so don't give them the opportunity to do that. So once you finish this statement, just add the next part. Now, I understand we all have busy schedules. So they can't tell you I'm busy after that, right? So now I understand we all have busy schedules, which is why we should now agree a time where you can come and get all the information before you decide. Tell them, I got my diary. Now they cannot tell you I'm busy because you bring it in. Okay, so I've got my diary with me here. When can you come? Go with that, okay? Take away this opportunity for them to say, but I'm busy. Okay, that's how you will position it. Now, you can use 3 alternative approaches also to get the meeting. Give them the reason to believe that a meeting makes sense. Okay? Any one of these. My recommendation, don't just go out after this and start using it. Read it, internalize it, do it. Just take your colleague next to you. Let's role play for 5 minutes. Okay, just do it. Say it a few times to each other. Get it inside and then call and you see how the results will be more effective. So there's 3 approaches that you can use. If you don't want to use the direct approach, you can use an indirect, which I gave you. Seeing is believing, isn't it? Now, having said all of this, you don't have to make you can use that approach. And then there are 3 other approaches. So those approaches are called multiple solution approach. You've got a complex solution approach and extended need analysis. What do these mean? Okay? Multiple solutions simply says, we've got so many amazing opportunities in Dubai right now, and there's really a lot to discuss on the phone. Why don't we meet? That's your approach here, okay? So I'm giving him the reason to meet. Hey, Ahmed, we have so many amazing communities right now. There's really too much to do on the phone. Why don't we meet? That's what we call the multiple solutions, okay? In the complex solution, you would say, Ahmed, okay, these investments require a lot of details and questions that need to be answered. And there are a lot to go through over the phone. Why don't we meet? In the first one, lots of opportunities, too many to do on the phone, let's meet. In the second one, I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions. We need to look at a lot of things before you make a decision. Too much to do on the phone, let's meet. In the third one, that's the second one. The third one, which is the extended need analysis, all I will do is I'll simply say, okay, now that you have seen why this is such an amazing opportunity, why don't we meet so I better understand what you're looking for, and we'll find you that opportunity. Okay? Now that you've seen why this is an amazing opportunity, let's meet so I better understand, and then we discuss next steps. So you can use these to come in and offer the meeting. Okay, so you got 5 techniques now. There's the direct approach, there's an indirect approach, and then you have 3 other approaches which you can use. Whichever one you feel comfortable with, internalize it, own the process, and just go ahead and use it. Okay? Any questions? No? Break? No, break after 5 minutes. We started 10 minutes late. So we're okay. I just want to wrap up. The process is just wrapping up now, okay? Just a little bit. One objection may come. We'll deal with. The objection that usually comes here is, send me some information by WhatsApp. Let me look at it. Now remember, in the brush off at the beginning, send me a WhatsApp. At that time, they're telling you, I don't want to talk. Now at least we've had a conversation. We've explored a few things. He's told me what he liked about Dubai, about the developer, about everything that he's heard. So now when he says, send me a WhatsApp, yes, you can send information, but you want to still approach with a meeting, okay? So you will suggest the meeting to the client. Now, send me by email, WhatsApp, WeChat, doesn't matter. Here's what you will do. You will say, certainly. First, I will neutralize the objection. Sorry, this cable is not very safe. Okay, I'll re-offer the appointment to him. So I will not say no, but here's what you would do. Send me a WhatsApp. Send me some information. Sure, certainly. Don't say no problem. No problem is negative language. It's easier when people come to but use third party. Most of our clients actually realized that they understood the community better when they visited us and looked at the master plan. Suggest that, okay? And re-offer the appointment. When can you come, right? If he still insists, no, send me some information first, then it's okay. What will you do in this case? Send him the information. Wait for 2 days, not 1 day. This is not a promotion offer. This is an outbound call. You just connected with someone. Go to a property monitor. Download the last 1 year's performance in that area or surrounding areas, 1 year, 6 months. Send it to him as a PDF with a voice note, not a typed message. The voice note you will send is, hey Ahmed, since we are considering an opportunity in this community, I did some work for you. I've looked at how this community has performed in the last 1 year, and I'm sending you that information. Take a look at it. It will help you when you have to decide. I'll call you in a couple of days just to see if you have any questions about it. Don't reference the property. If you reference the property in this voice note, it's a gimmick that you're doing. Show genuine interest. Learn to give before you get. Just send it, hey, I've done some work for you. Sell your effort. I've done some work. I've looked at how that community performed in the last 1 year. I'm sending you that information. This is going to help you when you make a decision. I'll give you a call in a couple of days just to see if you got any questions. Put it as a voice note because the tonalities will come in and you can say a lot more in less time. Okay? Send that out to them. And then you can usually offer the meeting. Now, in this case, Emaar has got 3 sales centers. Which one will be more convenient for you to come? That sort of thing. Now, it's very important to put in an emotional hook. It doesn't work all the time, but it's really important to do this because a lot of clients will say yes, and then closer to the meeting, they will cancel or they'll ghost you or they'll just make some excuse that they cannot come. You want to minimize that. You can never eliminate it, right? So here's what you would do, okay? You can say, well, I've got a consultation booked with you on whichever day, time, confirm that to them. Then simply say this, Ahmed, now, may I request that you keep that appointment? You will now have one of their consultants as well as me waiting just for you. Put it in. Let him feel like a rat later. Just put it in, okay? You will now have one of their consultants and me waiting just for you. Okay, just request in there.
In this case, we hear a lot from clients that they want to go direct with the developers. So we always try to
Okay,
talking about like their consultant and me, like
what is the advantage of them going directly to a developer compared to going with a broker? What is the advantage? Sorry? Yes, so what is the advantage? Is there any advantage? No. What is the advantage?
You have more options because a broker will advise you for what
That's not true. This is off plan. I'm going to take him anywhere there.
by the way, right now there is advantage to go for the developer. Why?
To working with?
For the client to go for the developer direct, there is advantage right now.
Why?
They give them priority to book the unit.
They get what?
They get the priority for them to get the unit.
Priority for them to get the unit. If they go directly. If they go with you, they can still book the unit.
No, like Miras now they're paying, for example. They do something.
Okay. Miras and Imar are playing this game now, especially at launches, right? You're talking launches. That's what, yeah. Launches, all of them are going to play the game. Even the Damak. You know what they want you to do? They want you to tell the, listen, you see this crowd here? 1,000 EOIs for 220 units?
They let you register the client before when, like the launch, I think this, the client, they get the code. If you are able to book the unit, come, there is pre-launch direct, come direct.
Yes, okay. That is what the developer is doing, or they're asking them to put a higher down payment. If you are willing to put 30%, I can make sure you get a unit. All right. However, we sell at launches and beyond. In launches, yes, some of the developers are just looking to capitalize. But my business does not stop at launches. How many launches are happening right now in Dubai? Okay, every day. How many clients are there who don't show up at launches and who are still buying? Plenty. Those are the people you're making the call to. So for those people, what is the advantage going with you? If I take them to a developer today, the difference is this: a developer will sell only their opportunity. Second, they will always tell you their opportunity is the best in town. Thirdly, they will downplay anything that might have been said negative about them in the market. As a broker, I am your advisor. I know everything about them, their history, which projects ran into trouble, but I also know the other opportunities right now that are equally good, if not better. So I can be the person who qualifies on your behalf when they speak with you. And you know what? You don't even pay for that service. It's done by the developer. Sorry?
There is one point added for that. Also, the broker who will take care about your properties, like after that for resale, for example, the developer only can
Absolutely, absolutely. It's long term. I'm not with you just for the deal. I will help you manage the process later. When it's time for handover, if you're looking at selling, I'll find you people who can sell it. If you want to put it into short stay, I know people who can do it the best. You can do all of that, yeah. So sell essentially the fact that going directly to a developer means they're going to showcase what they have. That's it. But the whole rest of the market is out. As your advisor, I can, on your behalf, I'll tell you if it's an amazing opportunity they're giving you, I'll tell you it's great. If not, I'll tell you, listen, there are two other opportunities equally good. Let's look at that also before you decide this.
Can we not tell the client that we are going to the sales center?
Sorry?
Can we not tell the client that we are going to the sales center?
What will you tell them?
Because we are going to meet with like investing consultant and myself to discuss the best opportunity.
Okay, you'll drive for 20 minutes, you'll reach the sales center. What happens then?
We go inside and we do the meeting.
He still has it in his mind. No, he can still walk away and say, okay, I'll think about it, and then he can contact them directly.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I heard from the team, I haven't done it myself yet, but they always say like once he gets inside the sales center, his mentality changes and he becomes more brave. But now I'm with him on the call still. He is still in the eliminating process. He is saying like, yeah, I will invest, I will not invest. So driving him directly like, okay, we are going to the sales center. This is where the transaction is happening. He's gonna be intimidated. He might like pull back a little bit.
Okay. It depends on the process you have used in the phone call. If you have not built the client correctly, you have not sold the right things and given him the reason why, then yes, he may feel like that. However, we also know that it's important for him to understand why he has to come there. You've got the whole model. You can see everything that's happening. We can get you all the answers in the sales center. And yes, and listen, these guys have been buying property before. They know you're going to take them to a sales center. Come on. It's as simple as that. Even if you don't say it, where are you going to take them? You're not taking them to a hotel lobby. They know you're going to go to a sales center. One more question, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back. I want to start objections with you.
I mean, what he's saying is maybe because you use the word sell, you're gonna think, okay, well, I'm going to buy. Maybe it's just that's why I use always, I'm going to the AMR office.
Enough, fine.
To not use the sell word.
Yeah, that you can do. There's no problem with that at all. Okay? So if you don't want to use the word sales, remove it. Say, Emaar has got three centers in Dubai. Which one works best for you? Or something like that. Okay? All right, let's take a break. I'll take your question still. You can come and talk to me. At 7-8 minutes, come back. I want to do objection handling with you. Today, based on the time we have, I want to at least discuss with you the psychology of objections. Why do people actually object? And then understanding what are smoke screens and how to uncover them. I'll give you some key techniques that you can use, 4 tools and an objection handling process. We'll probably only have time for that today. Now, the process I'll give you, the 4 tools you can use for any objection. It doesn't matter. They are universal tools and process. So whether the client is telling you the markets are in recession, Dubai is a bubble, prices have gone too high, payment plan is too aggressive, I'm not convinced the community will complete on time. It doesn't really matter what the objection is. My uncle's cow died. You'll get crazy ones also, right? All of it we will deal using the same structure. All right? So let me ask you first, objections, positive or negative? Negative. Okay. So you can make it positive. So that means it's starting as negative. Okay, let's do it this way. How many of you believe objections are negative? Show me your hands. 1, 2, 3.
May I explain?
No, I just want to know what you believe. Okay, so how many of you believe objections are positive? And what do the rest of you believe? All right, objections are always positive. Always. Resistance, excuses, opinions come onto the negative side. Because it's perception, and people sometimes hold very strongly to an opinion, or someone whom they respect really, really well has told them something. It's going to be a battle to pull them out of that in some cases, okay? So excuses and opinions could lean towards the resistant side. However, objections are positive because an objection is a sign of interest. It means they're actually listening to you. They're evaluating I'm not accepting what you're saying, but I'm evaluating it, and maybe something that I have heard is not matching what you're telling me, so I raise it as a concern. That's good. They're giving you the opportunity to deal with it. Because if I can deal with it, I can grow the relationship and I can close the deal. When a client tells you the price is too high, what he's actually telling you is, you haven't shown me why I should put this kind of money into that kind of project. That's what they're saying. if they're turning around, if they tell you that the market is not good right now, all they're telling you is you haven't been able to help me understand why this is actually a good time to put the investment. That's all. So our job is to be able to understand where they are coming from, because once we understand that, our own approach to objection handling changes. My attitude changes to an objection. I don't become defensive anymore. My body language opens out. I become more empathic and understanding because I know why. What is the reason the person is actually saying that? Okay? So there are a few reasons why people object. So let's just quickly go through those. I won't spend too much time on this. But you have to understand why people are objecting. It just puts you in a better position to address it. The first one is unconscious pattern. We have got this unconscious pattern or habit of questioning things. We've had encounters before with salespeople where things were promised, they did not fully deliver. Partly our own mistake, we didn't do our proper research. We went with what the sales guy said. And later we discovered that it did not perform the same way. So our subconscious mind has a recollection of all those memories. So it brings up a certain resistance. So it's just unconscious pattern. Very rarely are you going to find a client who will say, nope, everything you said is perfect, pricing excellent, love the unit, let's do it. When did you find this guy? They are going to raise some sort of concern. But what we need to understand is why they are raising the concern. That will help us handle it, okay? The second one, very important. Agree, disagree? Salespeople who do not build trust, who do not build the relationship and the rapport will struggle when it comes to closing. Because I don't trust you enough. We already saw, right? We don't trust salespeople. All of us, right? So if I don't trust salespeople, and now I have to put 4.8 million into something that will come after, I don't know, 5 years, probably only 7 or 8 years, I am going to be a bit nervous. And how do I say that? I can't tell you I'm nervous about you. So I will throw some silly thing like there's a recession coming. Now is not a good time. Prices have gone too high. I will use generic excuses. But that's not my real concern. My real concern right now is I don't trust you enough to take this risk. So they will smoke screen their way through it with you. Okay? Third reason, very important. They cannot see the value or the fit of the solution to the need. We call this the immediacy effect. There's ROI and POI. ROI we all know. What is POI? Yeah. It's the price of the investment. Okay, now when you are selling off plan to me, the return could be in the future. If I'm a short-term speculator kind of guy, I'm looking at least a year. Otherwise, I'm talking 3 years to 5 years. So the return that we are talking about, the capital gains, the rental yields is 3 years in the future, 4 years in the future. But what is in front of me now? 20%. So from that 10 million, I have to put 2 million on the table now. So the immediacy effect is our tendency to focus on what is in front of us and not what's in the future. So the return is in the future, it's speculative, things can change. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but yes, I have to put 2 million now. So the immediacy effect is what people react to. Now let's add all of them together. I've had past bad experiences. I don't trust you as a salesperson. And I'm not sure I'm going to get this in the future. Of course people are going to object. So we need to understand that the person is justified when they are saying, what they're actually telling you is, hey, help me, without saying it, okay? Help me, I'm feeling nervous right now. Can you help take this away from me so that I have confidence with whichever? That's all they're saying, okay? The fourth challenge is the perception becomes reality. Today people hear things in the market, they hear it from friends, and they will never question their friend. If I'm sitting with my friends at a shisha and someone tells me, you know, there was this report from the World Bank and this is what's happening, I never ask my friend, can I see that report? Or where did you get it from? But my friend said it, and because I have relationship with my friend, I trust my friend, I'll accept it. You want them to trust your answers? Build a relationship and become friend. So now someone's perception will become their reality. And when something becomes my reality, the way I will say it, the tonality in my voice, the conviction, the body language will sell it. So they'll tell it to you like they absolutely believe in it. So perception can be reality with people, okay? So that is something that we will need to change. We had a client from Pakistan. He said, how is it possible for so much property to sell in just one city? Because he sat with his uncle who's a big investor. He said, Dubai is just putting fake numbers out there. It's not possible for any city anywhere in the world to sell so much property in a single day. Now that is sitting in his head. And any broker who talks to me is questioning, it's not possible. There's fake numbers out there. How is it possible? So perception can become reality with people. Your job is to challenge perception, but we will do it professionally, okay? Fear of loss of purchasing power and sense of freedom. Another important reason. If I've got 50 million in the bank account, it's a good feeling. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, without having to worry about where the money is coming from. I may not do any of those things. Just the fact that I can do it without having to worry is a great feeling. It's a sense of freedom and a sense of purchasing power. But now I decide to put 20 million in a villa, I feel I'm losing that freedom and the purchasing power. For the next big thing, I may have to think a few times before I do it. Okay? Can also simply just be a negotiation tactic. That's it. Negotiation tactics are counters, they're not objections. So with negotiations, you will redirect the client back to the reason why they even considered it in the first place. Okay? Justifying price does not work in negotiation. In negotiation, they've already understood the value of it. If they did not understand the value, they would not be negotiating with you. But they're negotiating to maximize their returns. So I need to move them out from that and refocus on the actual benefit that they're getting. Okay? So the different kinds of resistances that you will see, just do this quickly. I want to get into the actual tactics with you. So the issue that is voiced can fall in one of four. Interest rates have gone up. There's no way the property market can stand. Prices have dropped around the world. In fact, they have dropped. In the US, it's dropped to $33,000 on an average per home. So it will affect Dubai. Go with numbers and challenge them. In the last year alone, 123,000 millionaires invested 528 billion in the Dubai market. In the first 2 months of this year, we had 23,000 millionaires investing 74 billion. So, Mr. Investor, when you say now is not a good time to buy, where exactly did you get that from? But challenge using fact. Because if he turns around and says, where did you get that from? I'll open the Dubai Rest. I'll go to the land department. There's the property monitor. They will all give me the numbers. So essentially what I'm saying is, when you raise a statement, can you tell me where you got it from? What's your credible source of information on that? Because when I'm going to present things to you, I'll give you a credible source. Okay? Just challenge it. Objections, positive. So appreciate it, acknowledge it, and address it. That's all you do, okay? And if it's a counter, you will simply redirect to the original reason. Why are they looking at buying? What's the reason you liked this particular opportunity in the first place? Revisit it. And from there you will work backwards, okay? That's how you will work through all of these. Now, any questions at this point? No? Okay, so I'm going to move now into the tactics. Before that, just one question. What is a smoke screen? Well, thank you for being honest. Bullshit. Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's say I raised an objection with you. You are presenting to me an opportunity, maybe a 3-bedroom downtown, any one of the towers they have there, and I tell you the prices are too high, really. How would you deal with that? Prices are high. That's ridiculous for a 3-bedroom downtown. How would you deal with it?
Start talking about locations.
Start talking about location. Okay. Mistake.
That's why exactly you have
Mistake. But good approach, huh? Good approach. The instant reverse.
It is the market price.
Mistake.
They are high compared to what and what.
Okay, mistake.
I think the thing is you need to compare the same similar city, let's say London.
Mistake.
It's a starting price.
It will go
Mistake.
even higher. It will go even higher than this.
Mistake.
To ask him
So that's why you have to go for
if he have no lower prices in the
I
same.
will agree with him.
Agree? No, mistake. Let me ask you a second question. When I said the prices are too high, how do you even know this is my real objection? The trap that all of you fell into is you have accepted it's a genuine objection. So you're justifying by location, view, etc. You are countering it, which means you've accepted it's an objection. Lowest price, starting price, all of that. So we are attempting to handle the objection. That means we have accepted that this is a genuine objection. The first thing, this is the golden rule of all objection handling. The first thing is to qualify and check if that is a real objection. And the way you will do it is by using two techniques. A neutralizer, which are the 4 tools I'll give you. You'll use a neutralizer and a qualifier. So let me give it to you straight away as an example. Client turns around and tells you the price is too high. I'll take the name. I'll say, Ahmed, it's important you get good value. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? There's only yes or no to this. So, but the neutralizer is where you'll say, Ahmed, I can see this is important. Or Ahmed, it's important that you get good returns. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? If they say, well, not exactly, or no, then you'll say, there seems to be something else. May I ask, what is it? That will be the real one. If they say, well, yes, that's what's stopping me, then I'll go to my third tool, which is what 1 or 2 of you gave me, which is a clarifier. So when you say the price is too high, what exactly do you mean? So that's called a clarifier. So these tools will become very powerful for you. So the golden rule of objection handling, never answer an objection. Qualify it first. Okay? So a smoke screen is a disguise. It will be a statement that the client will voice, but it's not actually the real concern. Sometimes it is given to disguise the real concern. I don't want to tell you what's my real concern, because if you answer it, what do? I have to make a decision, right? So I'll try and avoid it. And usually when avoiding, they'll use what the whole market is talking about, because there's some strength in that. Everybody's saying it. So that's what they will do. That's why never answer till you qualify. Now, sometimes it can also be done just to rattle you. We are smart negotiators, okay? We know that 80% of salespeople struggle with price. Think about this, okay? Every client talks about price with you, yes, no? Every client talks? By now you should be rock stars on handling price, because it's happening every time. And if you've had 100 meetings in the last 1 year, you've had 100 people raise price. How come you're not answering it now? And that's the reason why we know that 80% of salespeople do struggle on price. So what do I do to rattle you? Wallah, too much. That's it. That's all you have to say. 4.3 million, you're crazy? Finish. The sales guy is already thinking, I lost this guy. 80% of them are starting to think, what can I give extra? How can I give a value add? The client is taking leverage from you. So you will never answer a smoke screen. You will expose it, okay? Sometimes it is just used as a negotiation tactic. It's just a negotiation tactic. Remember, if he said 3 million, he's got 40 million in the bank. So he's got the money. It is not that that this is going to really challenge him. But I make money when I buy low and sell high. I make rental yield more than my neighbors when I come in 2% lesser than them in the market. So I will negotiate you downwards. Okay? So it is just a tactic that people would use. Call it out. Now let's look at 4 techniques which will be really good. By the way, these tactics you can start using today itself. These tactics and the process which I'll give you, you can start using it immediately. So the first tactic is called a deflector, or sorry, a neutralizer. Now, neutralizers are like softeners. They'll do two things. The first thing is they will diffuse the emotion in the objection, and they will take the salesperson out of the line of fire. When clients raise a concern, an objection, whether it's a perception, something they heard from somebody, in their mind it is something negative. So what happens to the mind? It is closing fast. Think of it as a room where the door is closing. What's your probability of getting inside a room when the door is closing? Stop the door from closing first. And to do that, you have to remove the emotion. The emotion is closing the door. That's what the neutralizer will do. The second thing, when I throw an objection at you, the Dubai projects are always late. Now, when you give an answer, I can see it as being defensive because I'm throwing it at you. But did you delay the project? No. But the fact is, when I'm talking to you, you're in the line of fire. When you're in the line of fire, what you give me as an answer, I might see it as a justification. So if I have to buy into it, I have to go out of the line of fire. So we will bring third party into the answer. Third party will be people he can trust. Okay? That's how you use neutralizers. So an example, right? A simple neutralizer. Ahmed, I understand. Now, we were talking left brain, right brain in terms of the approach. Emotions are right brain. So whenever a client raises an objection, he has jumped into his right brain at that moment. He's in an emotional state. I have to connect with him in an emotional state. Use the name. The names are right brain, they're relationship. Now I can use a specific neutralizer, I can use a generic one. The generic neutralizers can be used for any objection. Ahmed, I understand, is generic. You can say this for anything. Ahmed, I can see this is important. Ahmed, I'm glad you brought that up. Or, thank you for sharing that. Ahmed, valid point. Any of these are generic, can be used for anything. Specific neutralizers are more powerful, but you build them on his statement. So if a client tells you the price is too high, I will turn and say, Ahmed, it's important that you get good value for your markets are down. Ahmed, it's important that markets should be doing well for you to make money. See what we're doing? We're taking his actual concern and making the neutralizer on that. Well, I'm not convinced this community will finish on time. Ahmed, on-time completion is important for your returns. So don't get defensive. Just take what they said, convert it into a neutralizer. The mind stops closing. That's why you take the name and you can say, I can see this is important. That's all you do. Then I will go third party. I'll say, some of my best clients initially felt the same. Here's what they discovered. Then you give your answer. So what I've done now, I take myself, if I give the answer directly, it's my answer, but I'm in the line of fire and I'm a sales guy. And we don't trust sales guys, right? So what will I do? Ahmed, I can see this is important. Some of my best clients, clients like you, connected with him, clients like you initially felt the same. Here's what they discovered. You see, there's the magic. It's clients like him, here's what they discovered. For that kind of a community, with those kind of returns and opportunities, the price was easily justified. Whatever you want to give as an answer, but you will go third party. That's the purpose of the neutralizer. So, second golden rule, you will never attempt an objection without neutralizing the emotion. First, you will have to check if it's a smoke screen. Second, you will diffuse the emotion. Okay? That's an example. Now, let's look at the second tactic. This is what you use for the smoke screens. This is called a qualifier. A qualifier is just to find out, is this genuine or not? So these are statements or questions you will ask to establish the credibility. So maybe it's just an opinion he gave me, right? So I'd simply say, Ahmed, what's your credible source of information on that? Where exactly did you get that information? How did you find that out? These kind of things, okay? I can just ask. So I'll give a couple of examples here for you. What's your credible source of information? Another one is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? There's only a yes or no to this. Now, when you use it, you will combine both the neutralizer as well as this. So the neutralizer would be, Ahmed, I can see this is important. Where exactly did you get it from? I'm using both together. You are in control because you're not assuming it's an objection. You are not throwing any answers. You're asking him. He has to respond. Any objection. Client tells you prices have gone too high in Dubai today. I'll simply say, Ahmed, it's important that you get good returns. Where exactly did you get this information that prices have gone so high? Where did you get it? So I just bring both together. Yes?
If the source is also, it's like emotional, like friends.
Yes.
How can we react?
Okay, great. It's a good question, actually. If the source is emotional, a friend, I would simply turn around and say, I understand. Okay. Can we give a call to you? This is interesting information. Can we find out where exactly your friend got this from? He may have friends. Who's the expert on real estate here? Me. Friends can say anything. You can go to buy a mobile phone with a friend and there's a sales guy in front of you and your friend will tell you, no, you know what, this is not good, that's better. Is the friend qualified to give him that?
No, but it's connected emotionally.
We get it. For that matter, more personal than his friend's emotion is his own emotion, right? If I'm dealing with his emotion, I can easily deal with friend. That is why I go third party. Yeah, I know your friend said this, then help me understand why 23,000 millionaires just invested 74 billion in a market that is overheated and overpriced. I'll go with the fact. Okay? Now, clarifiers. Clarifier is if the client says, yes, that's my concern, I simply need more information. Essentially, tell me more. That's what I'm trying to do. Just tell me more. So I will use them in the same sequence. So let's say a client has said, the Dubai market is a bubble. So I will turn around, I'll do all the three. I'll use a neutralizer, I'll use a qualifier, and a clarifier. Client says, the Dubai market is a bubble. I will turn and say, Ahmed, I can see this is important. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? Well, yeah, that's what's stopping me right now. So when you say the Dubai market is a bubble, where exactly did you get that from? That's all three tools used one after the other. Very simple, very easy to use. And you can use them for any kind of objection, right? I'm not convinced that this community will give that kind of returns. Ahmed, it's important that you get good returns. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? Well, yeah, that's what's stopping me from going ahead. So when you say this community will not give good returns, how exactly did you decide that? All the three steps together. It will work for any objection, okay? So master it. It will keep you in control. And then there is a fourth tactic. Oh, sorry, that's the clarifier. It just seeks more information, all right? I've given you some examples. What exactly happened? Sometimes they may tell you, I've invested in the past and I lost money in Dubai. It doesn't tell you anything, does it? So I need more information. When did they buy? Which kind of community? Was the project halted? What happened? I have no idea. So just use an empathy statement. This, I can see this is important. What exactly happened? How did you discover what happened? Those sort of questions, okay? It's all in your handouts. I've given you this. Let's go to the deflector, and then I'll take you through a 7-step objection handling process. Don't freak out. 7 steps will be done in 20 seconds. 20 seconds, all right? I'll demonstrate it to you today. So now, a deflector. Now, these are statements or questions you will use when the client raises a question or an objection. It could be both. It's a good question, good objection, but it's untimely. It's coming too early. How much is it? You'll hear this a lot from clients. Okay, why is the payment plan so difficult? Sometimes it might even be, why do they have such a bad reputation? And you're in an early part in your conversation, right? Certain questions, while they are good, I may not want to answer them at that point because the way I'm building my approach with him might answer the question by itself. And until we get to understanding why this community really works, we will never be able to justify price. So you don't want to get into that price thing at that end. So when it comes early, you can use a deflector. Now, this is how you use a deflector, okay? Turn what they're saying into something positive. That's the secret here. Well, I think the prices are too high. Or why are their prices so high? I'll say, Ahmed, that's the most exciting part, or that's the most exciting thing about Emaar opportunities. I'm going to come to that in a moment. They don't expect that from you. Because in their head they're saying, why is it expensive? That's the most exciting part about this opportunity. I'll come to that in a moment. Continue. Okay? Just turn the idea in their head, because in their head they're thinking this is not good. Cancel that. Oh, that's what makes this such an amazing opportunity. I'll come to that in a moment. Now, if I may ask, continue. That's called a deflector. Okay? Another example. Okay? Ahmed, that's what makes this opportunity, if you're doing a special promotion, that's what makes this opportunity so exciting. And you'll see that in a moment when I share the investment plan. Now, if I may ask, that's a deflector. 4 tools. Master these tools. 60% of your objection handling is done just in these 4 tools. Okay. Now let's look at a 7-step process. Okay, the price clarifiers, I've given you a few there. That's okay. Actually, let's just quickly go through this. Now, price clarifiers is, I found, works very well because it's something that everybody raises. They'll raise it, but they'll not tell you the reason. So when you want them to tell you more about the price, always use it as a combination, a neutralizer or a softener, and then a clarifier. Combine the two. So I'm giving you 4 or 5 different ways of doing it. Pick any one of these, it doesn't matter. So here's an example. Client tells you the price is too high. Ahmed, that's important for both of us. If I may ask, how did you decide the price is too high? See, clients only think about themselves, true? But if I'm there as a developer, for me the pricing is important. It does not just affect my cash in bank. I need cash in the escrow. I need installments to come on time. So if I keep reducing and drop price on every sale, there is going to be a percentage drop in my escrow. So I need to be able to stand the ground. When you are a broker, understand this. Please understand this. You do not represent only the buyer. When you are taking them to off-plan, who's paying you for the sale? Developer, right? So don't throw the developer under the bus. They are telling you, don't do it, because that's what we do. But they are telling you, if you will bring me a client and if he buys, I'm going to pay you for that. That I can get the person to come at the best entry point into my project. You are a broker on behalf of the developer as much as you are a broker on behalf of the client. Please get that into your heads. Okay? The developer is paying you. So it's very important. I'll say, Ahmed, pricing is important for both of us. Just throw it in there. It's a good neutralizer. And it puts the idea on the table, all right? And then simply ask, how did you decide we're expensive? So it's a clarifier, but starting with a softener or an acknowledgement. Another example. Well, at this stage, I can see why you feel this way. Can I ask, which project have you compared me with? So I've had a neutralizer, and I've gone with a clarifier. Always use the neutralizer before the clarifier. It's really, really powerful. Try it and you'll see the difference. Third one, okay? That's an interesting observation. That's an interesting statement. When you say the price is too high, in relation to what did you decide that? So you're using some of these techniques, you're just not using neutralizer along with it. Just bring the two together, it'll become a lot more powerful, okay? Give you, I think, 2, 3 more. Right. This one is very hard to answer. Client tells you the price is too high. Say, Ahmed, I understand. If I may ask, which benefits did you look at when you decided that? Try answering this one. Pricing is connected to benefits. Agree, disagree? Yes? Okay. A Lamborghini brings certain benefits to the table that the BMW will not. And that's why it's priced that way, right? So I say, okay, I can see this is important. Which benefits did you look at when you decided the price is high? The fact that you're on a high flow, ocean view. You see how silly it sounds? Their own answer will justify it. Okay? So which benefits did you consider when you decided the price is too high? Now, this is a double question one, okay? I'm glad you brought that up. How much more expensive do you think we are? They'll give you an answer, 8%, 10%, whatever. Ask the second question, how did you decide that? No answer to that one. In that itself, the objection is gone. Okay, but don't ask together, how much more expensive do you think we are? How did you decide that? That doesn't work. All right? Pause and then ask this question. Now the sixth one is slightly longer, but it's a very powerful one. I use this a lot. Okay? You have to have good confidence when you do this. Client turns around and tells you the price is too high. I will simply pause for a second, eye contact, almost like I'm trying to process what the hell are you saying, right? So I just look at the person and then I'll say, Ahmed, we price based on performance and lifestyle. When you buy from us, you don't just save on price, you earn in value. Which benefits did you look at when you decided that? But you with confidence, okay? Straight away say, Ahmed, we price on lifestyle and performance. When you invest with us, you don't just save on price, you earn in value. Can I ask which benefits you looked at when you decided that? They cannot answer this question. But please practice it, otherwise you'll be like flushing it down the toilet. Okay, practice it, very strong. Look at this statement. First I'm using the name, okay? We price based on lifestyle and performance. Has to be said with authority, with conviction. And then turn his mind. When you invest with us, you don't just save on price, you earn in value. So can I ask, which benefits did you look at? Almost no answer coming to this one. All right. So these are examples of how you use clarifiers along with the acknowledgements. Very powerful. These 4 techniques, master them. I'm telling you, 60% of your objection handling is done. Now let's look at the objection handling process, because that's all we'll have time for today. But it's an easy process. You can handle it right after this on the phone. Question 1. Only one question. I want to finish this.
Let's say our customer is very intelligent, and he may re-ask this question, like, what do you mean when you say performance? What do you mean when you say benefit? He may re-ask this to us, right?
Repeat the benefits that you talked about when you presented the product, because the objection to price is going to come after that, right? So we'll talk about it. So I will take the name. I said, Ahmed, would you agree that this opportunity will give you 1, 2, and 3? Those are the benefits we're talking about. Because you present the benefit and the project, then you go with your closing, that's where they'll come up and say price is too much, right? The objection will come after that. Just go back, redirect to the benefits. It's already there. Because when I presented benefits, I had confirmation. Remember, when you qualify a client, before you even present a solution, you have to summarize qualification, right? So Ahmed, from what you told me, you're interested in a 4-bedroom villa. You prefer it in a community like Tilal Al Ghaf, overlooking the lake. And for that kind of a opportunity, you could invest up to 15 million. Is that correct? So they've already told you at that time, yes, that's correct. I can invest 15 million for that. Now if I show you that kind of a villa, 4-bedroom in Tilal Al Ghaf, overlooking the lake, within 15 million, what exactly do you mean when you say it's expensive? Which is why you must summarize qualification. Get them to say yes. Then later if they say expensive, doesn't make sense, right? If you don't do the summary, then you'll have the problem. Okay, now the process, 7-step process. The first step is to use an acknowledgement. It's a neutralizer. Any objection, they might tell you that right now there's a recession coming. So I'll simply turn around and say, I'm glad you brought that up. Or that's a valid concern. These are the generic ones. Ahmed, I can see this is important, right? If you want to go specific, I'll say, Ahmed, it's important, markets should be good. So I'm just using the neutralizer. This is the first step. Second step is your qualifier. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? Don't say, is that the only concern you have? Is that the only problem? These are negative words. Is that the only thing? Thing is not positive, negative at all. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? See the way we frame it. You don't say, is that the only thing stopping you? That's a hard stop. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? That's the frame. Now there's only yes or no. No simply means, alas, well, Ahmed, there seems to be something else. May I ask, what is it? If he says, well, yes, that's the thing that's stopping me from going ahead, then I go to my clarifier. Now in the clarifier, there is a structure. You have to say it this way. When you say, Don't change those words. So what was the objection? There's a recession coming. When you say there's a recession coming, what exactly do you mean? Repeat the objection exactly the way he said it. Objections have got emotional charge. When you change the words, they don't react to it well. So, example, there's a recession coming. So when you say markets are not good, what exactly do you mean? Say, I didn't say that. Never change the words. If they say price is too high, you will not say, when you say we are expensive, don't change the words of the objection unless they're using some colorful language. Okay, so just repeat it, but you must do it in this structure. When you say, repeat it, what exactly do you mean? That's your clarifier. So in the first 3 steps, you used your 3 tools. Deflectors are only used when an untimely thing comes up. Now at this point, you don't have control, because he can speak for 5 seconds, he can speak for 3 minutes. Do not interrupt. Even if he speaks for 4 minutes, 5 minutes, you know what he's talking about, you heard it from 100 people, do not interrupt. It's personal to him, it's not a good space he's in. When you interrupt, he will shut down even more. Just be patient. Good eye contact, listen to what the person is saying. Now, when they finish, you will pause for just a second. Good eye contact, pause. It's almost like I'm processing, I'm getting what you're saying. You will neutralize again. Why? Why do you neutralize again? Because he spent 3 minutes in that pain. He's getting the feeling coming back again. So I need to neutralize again. So I just pause for a second, look at the person, and then I will simply say, I understand. Okay. Some of my best clients initially, you see, this was the structure and the neutralizer, correct? Do the same structure, I understand. Some of my best clients initially felt the same, but it surprised them to discover. The magic is in the word surprised. The word surprised, don't touch it. But it actually surprised them to discover. So what I'm trying to say is like, oh, when the clients felt that way, but when they actually discovered, they were surprised it wasn't really that. That's the message you're giving across there, okay?
So you show them that they're not stupid, like in a polite way.
Yes, and also you're saying that, hey, it isn't actually like how you're thinking, it's something else. That's what's coming out with the word surprise, okay? So the words make a big difference here. So I'll simply pause after he has given me what is the concern, look at him for a second, and then just say, Ahmed, I understand. Some of my best clients initially felt the same, but it actually surprised them to discover, give the answer of your objection here, whatever be the objection, okay? The structure you will use the same way for any objection. Now once you give the answer, I have to go to step 6, which is I need to check satisfaction. And the way to do that is simply by asking, does that answer your question satisfactorily? Give the answer and then say, does that answer your question satisfactorily? Don't say, does that answer your question? Does that answer your question satisfactorily? Because there's a hook here for him. If he says, well, yeah, that answers my question, I go with the trial close. So how would you like to make the down payment? Which unit would you like to go for? In that case, why don't we just finish the paperwork on this so I tell you what happens next? Because he has said yes. Now what's the hook here? Look at the top. Is that the only thing stopping you from going? And he said yes. Now I'm asking, does that answer your question satisfactorily? He said, well, yeah, that answers the question. I've answered the only thing that was stopping you. Go with the trial close. In that case, how would you like to make the down payment? So the structure is designed to keep you in control, to set him up so you can take him to a place of commitment. Don't mess the structure. You can also find out through a more open approach by asking, so how do you feel about what I just said? I prefer the first one. It's more direct. Does that answer your question satisfactorily? You'll either get a yes or maybe, I guess, somewhat. When he says somewhat, yeah, and you don't feel he's in it, simply say, what else do we need to take care of before you own this property? Go positive. And the end is just your trial close. So which unit would you like to go for? 7-step process. I'm going to do all the 7 steps now. Someone can just time me and see how long it takes, okay? The only 2 places where you don't have control in the process is when they're explaining the objection and when you're giving the answer. These are the only 2 places. Otherwise, the whole process itself, let's see how long it takes. Client says, the prices are too high. I say, Ahmed, I can see this is important. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? Well, yeah, that's what's stopping me right now. So when you say the price is too high, what exactly do you mean? I don't have control on answer. After the answer, pause. I say, Ahmed, I understand. Some of my best clients initially felt the same, but it actually surprised them to discover, give your answer. Does that answer your question satisfactorily? Well, yeah, that answers my question. Excellent. How would you like to go ahead? How long did the process take? 20, 25 seconds. That's it. But you can use the process for any objection. There is no objection in the real estate industry that I have heard in my last 20 years that cannot be answered with this. This is the structure. This is not the answer to the objection. You will fit the answer into this structure. Why does this developer have such a bad reputation? Why are projects in Dubai always late? I heard they can change the plan of a development whenever they want. So you'll need specific answers to each one. But you'll fit it into this, because even if they say, well, Dubai keeps changing the plans of developments, I'll turn around and say, Ahmed, I can see this is important. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? So you see, you can use the same process regardless of the objection. Okay? That's all.